Hi guys, it's Mina. Welcome back. We are continuing with our Aphrodite series today. We have a 24 by 24 inch gallery wrapped canvas that we're going to be pouring on. Today's god that we're talking about as part of Aphrodite's list of lovers is Dionysus. Dionysus is commonly known as the god of wine, and he brought the gift of wine to man and taught us how to cultivate grapevines and make our own wine. He was a fun guy, according to most reports about him. One of the things he heard about him before in our story with Hephaestus, where he was the one who convinced Hephaestus to go and free Hera from the Golden Throne. He was a pretty fun guy. So because of the grapes, obviously, we're going to be using some more purples. This is one of my favorites, Golden's Permanent Deep Violet. Lovely color, looking a little thick, yeah, but leaving a mound on a mound. And my paint is mixed with Liquitex Gloss, medium, and varnish, and water, and paint, and Floetrol. So I put 2 ounces of gloss, medium, and varnish in the cup. I add about 1 ounce of paint, and I stir, and then I add water until it's a little thicker than I want, and then I add about 8 ounces of Floetrol, 8 to 10 ounces of Floetrol. And this is a 16-ounce cup that usually gets me about 13 ounces of paint. My paint does leave a mound on a mound on a mound on a mound on a mound. Leaves a trace. It lasts for a second or two before it dissolves. So I like my paint thick. Somebody had asked me a question this morning about why I use the gloss, medium, and varnish instead of just Floetrol. Oops, I just got paint on my nose. Is it gone? Yeah. Sorry. Anyway, I like the gloss, medium, and varnish because it gives the paint some body. It gives it a very nice luster, first of all, because of the varnish in it when it dries. It has a beautiful luster and a sheen to it already, which means that I don't need to worry about varnishing it additionally unless I really want to. And B, it actually has a thickness to it. When my paint, like if I peel my drips off a table, it's like a thick piece of plastic. It's not some flimsy little, tissue paper thin something or other. It's actually substantial, and that's one of the things that the gloss, medium, and varnish does, is it gives your paint some body. So when it dries, you don't see all of the little lines of the weave of the canvas. Anyway, cue the helicopter. For the Golden's paints, usually I have to add about 1 ounce, ounce and a half of water. But something else like the DecoArt 24 karat gold, I don't need to add any water. Just the gloss, medium, and varnish and Floetrol, and it's ready to go. So the ones in these little cups are actually left over from my pour yesterday, and I will show you those colors. That's the 24 karat. This one is Golden's, what was it? No, that's the Quinacridone Crimson. This was a Quinacridone Violet. Or was it Cobalt Violet? It was a Cobalt Violet, and I darkened it up just a touch with a little bit of black in there, so it's a little bit dark, but I think it's going to work really well with these. So this is Quinacridone Crimson. I may or may not use this, or I may just use a little bit of it. I don't know. We'll see how it feels. I have here Anthroquinone Blue. Also from Golden's. I really like this one, and I like using it with purples because it has a more purple base. I guess it's a red base than the ones that are green base, but this turns really pretty. And when it mixes with the violet, it's a beautiful color. When it mixes with white, it's a beautiful color. So I really like this one, Anthroquinone Blue from Golden's. Leaving a mound on a mound on a mound. Slight trace that disappears after a second or two. So, and my paint is thick. Okay, what else do we got? This is Artist Loft Flow Acrylic White mixed with Satin Enamels. Again, mixed with Liquitex Gloss, medium, and varnish and water. I also have Golden's Iridescent Copper. I love this color. It's just such a dreamy copper obsession. Lovely, beautiful color. I love it. Just wonderful to work with. It's just so, look how it's just pouring off the stick. Just amazing. Okay. And then I also have 2 cups of white that are mixed the same, but slightly less gloss, medium, and varnish and more Floetrol. So they're a little bit thinner, and I've added a lot of water to those. I'm going to use them as our background color and flow extender. So let's start layering our cup. All right. I want a tiny bit of white in the center, just a very small amount, because I don't like that fish skeleton thing that we get. And again, a small amount of gold. See, it's not even like spreading to cover half them. Okay, we're going to use some of our Permanent Violet Deep and some Anthroquinone and some more white. want to put some of this other violet color in. And I want that sort of shocking contrast with the copper. Ooh. Float on top. There we go. So if you pour it too fast, it could sink down. You don't want to do it. Pour it slowly so it slides down the edge of the cup and lays on top of the layer before it. Okay, we're going to put some gold on top of that. And let's put a little bit of this crimson in. Let's go, I don't want pink, so we're going to go back to the copper again. Some more of, actually I'm going to put blue first. A little bit of white. The other violet. Copper. Gold. Go with the permanent deep violet now. Some white and then some copper. I like the copper and the gold together. That's why I keep putting them next to each other. A little bit more of that crimson for pop. Some more Anthroquinone Blue. White. Over. Okay. So these are my base coat satin enamels, and they are much thinner. See, it's not leaving a mound, it's pretty much sinking. Maybe a very small mound. But it's still thinner than this stuff, so. Okay, we're gonna pour a base coat of the white first. There's a leaf. Okay, spread this out. So what the base coat does is allow us to have a nice smooth surface for our paint to float around on and slide around on. So Dionysus, you met him first with Hephaestus, when we talked about him before, but he has a couple of stories of his own. One concerning his birth is particularly interesting. So Zeus saw this lovely lady named Semele, and had an affair with her, and she got pregnant with Dionysus. And Hera, who was the jealous sort, found out, and she tricked Semele into telling Zeus that she wanted him to show her his true form as a god, his true godly form. And Hera knew that as a mortal, if Semele saw his true godly form, that she would die right away. And so she told Zeus, I want to see your godly form. And he said no, and she persisted, so he showed her his godly form, and of course she died. So Zeus rescues his unborn son from her womb and implants him into his thigh and finishes growing him there. And eventually Dionysus is born from Zeus's thigh, and the story goes is that he was actually cared for in his early life by centaurs and nymphs and creatures like that. Such crazy stuff in these stories. So I thought that was really funny that he was born from Zeus's thigh. And Hera was kind of vindictive. She wasn't all that nice, was she? Anyway, so yeah, so Aphrodite and Dionysus had a little fling, which, you know, the god of wine and fun and theater and laughter and, you know, drunken revelry. What was it you said?
Ritual madness.
Ritual madness. That made me laugh. So this pour is for Dionysus and Aphrodite in honor of their short, but probably a lot of fun affair that they had. Okay, so we've got our base coat. I thought about doing a ring pour. I thought about doing a straight pour, but I think I want to do a ring pour with this one because my paints are thick, so they're going to keep their shape nice. Okay. Couple bubbles.
Yeah,
And see, this paint is nice and thin. You can see it's coming up, so it's good. It's going to help our paints, this paint, slide easy. We might have too much paint. Well, it's a 24 by 24. Okay, ready? Look at these cool cells coming up on top of the cup. Ready? Here we go. Okay, so I'm gonna add a little bit of water to this. I don't think we need it really even, but we'll try it without and see how it moves. So I was watching Sarah the other day and she did this beautiful straight pour, and then instead of tilting it how she usually does to the corners, she started to go to the corner and then she like swung around. It was really, really neat. So we might go in a circle. I don't know. Let's see how it wants to move. Yeah, see, I do want to put that ring around it because when it started to roll over, it was rolling over itself. I don't really want it to do that. And this is mostly Floetrol. So I realize it looks like a lot, but there's a lot of Floetrol, not that much paint on here. Okay, I'm gonna go back this way. I'm gonna go back down to the other corner. Come back. Right now we're just sort of stretching it out and opening it up. We're going to go down to the other side. I'm not interested in taking any paint off yet. Okay, so this is where like this curvy sort of ring. You like the white corners? No. Get that white off. And that copper and the violet together are really striking. And after all the times that you tilt it to the corners, you bring it back to the center. It keeps the integrity of your design. And there we go. Down to the bottom again. Okay, so let's look at it for a second and see what we like and what we don't like. I like most of it. I like the center a lot. I'm not crazy about this right here. I think I'm going to take some of this off, but this is really neat. See, this is a little gray somehow. I guess that's the white and the blue mixed. Okay, so let's go. Where's the way to the paint? There. Go down a little bit and take some of that off the bottom. See that kind of gray hazy part? Bye bye. A little bit more. Okay, we're gonna come back to the center. Yeah, that's pretty cool. I like that. Or we could take off some of this at the bottom and this at the bottom and kind of open this up some more, because this is really pretty. Yeah, let's do that. Okay, we're going to take a little bit off of that side and a little bit off of that side. And that's the cool thing about having a little bit more paint than you need on your canvas, and having your paint have enough elasticity to be able to stretch once you've already stretched it. If I had very, very thin watery paint, you wouldn't still see these rings and these lines intact at this point. But see, now it's all going to spread and open up in here. And we're just going to go down and then off that corner. Center of it. I'm going to leave that one like that. It's interesting. I'm not sure that I love the bottom part, but hopefully it'll dry pretty cool as the layers start to sort of separate and the transparents allow the opaques to rise up and make cells and things like that, and the layers start to show. Like in here you can see really cool layers. Let me wipe my hands off and look at it. What do you think?
Very grapey.
Well, that's good. I like it. There's actually some really cool, we're getting those stripy cells up in here. stripes of copper and purple. It's pretty neat. Okay, so I like the center a lot. This is beautiful right in here with this strip of copper with just the violet right on the edge and then some cells coming in here. I like the white with the blue underneath it and these copper cells coming up. I like that this side has more violet. I love this blue, the Anthroquinone Blue in the background with all the cells coming up. And that is a transparent or semi-transparent color, which is why we're getting a lot of these cells coming up in here. Very, very pretty lines though. This is really pretty over here where there's like this layering. It's like a layer of Anthroquinone Blue, then white on top of that, then the violet, then the copper. Very cool. Very pretty. So I hope this dries a little clearer and doesn't, just looks a little muddy to me right now, which is making me want to tilt all that off. But we're going to have restraint and let the paint do its thing and trust that we've done it right and it's going to come out cool. And if it doesn't come out cool, we'll pour over it. Okay, so this one's pretty cool. I will show you when it is dry. See you soon. Okie dokie, so this is a few days later. This one is Dionysus. I am so thrilled with how this one came out. I don't know if you can pick up that bling from the copper, but this one has been blinging at me for the better part of a week in my studio at night. Look at that metallic-y, sort of shimmery amazingness. This one came out really, really neat. I'm very happy with that. So this one is Dionysus. This is the last one in our Aphrodite series. This one came out pretty neat. I like a lot of it. I like the purple for the grapes, you know, and a god of wine. And of course, Aphrodite has been copper throughout this whole journey. So I really like that there's all these little copper cells coming up in here, and they're stripy cells, which is pretty cool. You can see those stripes inside the cells, which is kind of trippy. But I love this color here, this where the Quinacridone Crimson is mixed with the copper, and then there's just that line of violet on the edge of it is just amazing. That's so cool. Very, very pretty. And I like the edges. The edges came out good, so I'm happy that I had restraint. I love this part. This is that layered part where we were talking about, where there was a layer of white and then the layer of blue and then the layer of Quinacridone Violet or Crimson, and then just so pretty. The corners. Very cool. So that sort of shocking combination of the copper and the Quinacridone Crimson together is very pretty. I like this one a lot. So this is like a pretty big party. The goddess of love and beauty and sex and the god of wine. Having a good old time. So this one is Dionysus. And I will link the rest of the Aphrodite series for you. I hope you guys have enjoyed these. They've been a lot of fun and mildly shocking. But cool. Anyways, thank you so much for hanging out with me. And if you want to see more of my stuff, check it out on Facebook on Mina Villegas Art, or you can check out my Etsy shop, which we'll be getting more stuff put in there very soon. We're going to have a big sale because we were organizing and cleaning, and there's a lot of paintings. So that's going to be good for you guys. So check that out. If you enjoyed this video and you'd like to be a patron of the arts, there is a link in the description box for a PayPal me tip jar. I really appreciate all of your donations. It helps so much. And let's see. So I think next we're going to have a rock concert. I think you guys are going to like it. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. I will see you next time. Have a great day. Bye-bye. Oh, that's Van Dyke in the background, my little horse. Somebody had asked me. See you later.